Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Saturday, y'all. We are super happy to have you on. Hey, Eric, how's it going?
Yeah, good. How you doing?
Doing well, thanks. Eric is our awesome speaker for today, which we'll chat more about very, very soon. But in the meantime, why don't we all get to know everyone? Okay, remind me of your name. Is it Sasha? Saskia? There we go. Okay. Do you want to introduce yourself, who you are, where you're from? Yeah.
London, and I kind of do international music marketing, artist development, and kind of community building. So that's really my thing, and equality and diversity in the music industry. So thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, thank you for being on. We are so incredibly happy to have you on all the way from London. It's so cool to see our global community growing. Linda, this is the first time I'm seeing you on here. Do you want to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, I've been on here before, but it's been a little while. I'm Linda Dobbin-Turner, and I'm from Kenora, Ontario. And Eric and I met in August of 2019, and I just know he's brilliant every time he speaks. So I'm a singer-songwriter and working on a catalog that may work for Sync, or it may just put nice music into the world, and do a lot of administration, and I'm also other things. But I'm here for that today. And it's nice to see you all again.
Of course, so lovely having you back on, and super excited to hear that catalog and everything cool happening with you. Happy to have you on this weekend. Justin, hello, hello, an OG Finessed fan member. How's it going?
What's going on, Cap? Excuse me. And what up to
Happy
the
Saturday.
FM fam? Happy Saturday. I'm Justin Artist. I'm in the DMV, more of the V, Northern Virginia. I'm an artist, producer, A&R, engineer. I do pretty much everything. Yeah, and just always learning. Sync I've been in for about 3 years. So I'm always trying to just figure this thing out, working on getting my first placement, but I also do royalty-free stuff. So Sync is actually like paying the bills right now, so it's pretty awesome.
Very cool. Y'all heard it first. Sync is paying his bills. If you're not in that, you need to get on it. Super happy to have you on as always, Justin. Lenny, do you want to introduce yourself to everyone today?
What's going on, everybody? My name is Lenny. I'm an artist originally from Raleigh, North Carolina, but currently living in Kansas City, Missouri. I'm a rapper, producer. I mix and master my own stuff as well. Got a project out right now called Lord Protect Us. Make sure y'all go check that out. I got bars. I'm not lying. I really do got bars. But yeah, thankful to be here. I'm very interested in learning more about Sync, as I heard that it's paying the bills for a lot of folks. So definitely want to get into it, and I'm excited to learn more. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Nice, super happy to have you on. Lenny has incredible music. Highly recommend listening. Let's see, McCondre, do you want to say hi to the Finesse fam?
What's up, Finesse fam? I see some people here I know, actually. My name is Mike Andre. I produce and mostly help artists with finding music for their projects, movies, and things of that nature, even if they just need to put an album together. So I guess you could say on some A&R type stuff. So producer, A&R. I'm just really excited to learn more about Sync. I have a little knowledge, but there's nothing wrong with going back to basics. So really excited.
Nice. Well, we are super excited to have you on. Welcome in for today's event. We'll say hi to just a couple more folks until we get started. Shermay Randolph, are you in the room? Can you unmute yourself? Say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. Yeah.
Hello.
Sorry, my camera isn't on. It's not working right now. I need to get a new laptop. But my name is Shermie. I don't work in the music industry at all, but I do run a podcast about Black women in hip hop, so like really highlighting them. So yeah, I'm just interested to learn more about Sync and kind of try to figure out how that can work for Black women in the hip hop space.
Marie, you are incredible. Shout out to you. We love Black women in the music industry. We love Black women in hip hop. And so shout out to you for continuing amplifying that. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We'll say hi to just a couple more folks. Emma, you literally just popped on, but do you want to say hi, introduce yourself?
Hey, Kit Kat. Nice to see you all. Anytime I see Eric Campbell's name, I always tune in because he knows his stuff. So happy to be here. Thank you, Eric. I'm a singer-songwriter based in Western Mass. So right now, just recording my catalog and then going to try to figure out the puzzle pieces with sync and all that. So thanks for having me.
Of course, thanks for being on. We'll say hi to one more person and then we'll hop into it. Sliced Kiwi Beats, you create dope music. Do you want to say hi, unmute yourself, introduce yourself?
What's up, everybody? I'm Sliced Kiwi Beats.
What's up?
I'm a music producer in Columbus, Ohio, and I'm happy to be here with you all and learn about sync.
Nice, and we are happy to have you on. So with that, I'm going to pass the mic over to our lovely host for today, Alicia Frazier. Alicia, take it away.
Okay. Hey, everybody. I hope you all had a great week, and I'm excited that all of you are here today on this Saturday. So as Kit Kat said, my name is Alicia, and I'm an event and PR coordinator here at Finesse. And today we got a good one for y'all, okay? Today, we're learning about music, sync, and supervision with the amazing Eric Campbell. So I'm sure that you all have heard that one song that stuck out to you while you was watching TV or a movie and wonder who chose that song and how they chose it. So as I said, that's exactly what we're going to be focused on today. So to go into the agenda, we'll kick it off with the conversation with Eric, who I'll introduce again shortly. And then we'll head into an audience Q&A where you get to ask any questions that you may think of throughout the time that Eric is speaking. And then we'll conclude with a listening session with some of your music. And so without further ado, as I mentioned, we have the amazing Eric Campbell here. Eric is a songwriter, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and a sync educator. And his work can be heard on TV shows like Love and Hip Hop, Chicago Fire, and Shameless. And he's worked with talented artists like Musiq Soulchild, Rashon, Fegan, and Booty Collins. Hi, Eric. How are you? Oh, you muted.
There we go. Hey, Alicia, how are you doing? Good to see everybody. It's a dope community. I appreciate being here.
Definitely. We're so glad to have you here. Everybody already raving and ripping and raving about you. So I'm glad to learn more about your experience from you. So I'll kick it off with the first question. This is an area that most independent artists miss out on. So can you break down how you were able to grow your artistry from being a songwriter, a producer, multi-instrumentalist into the sync world?
Yeah, I think you said exactly right. Like a lot of independent artists don't always think of this first, or if they think of it, sometimes they think of it as, you know, if everything's not going right, or if I got some throwaway songs, maybe I can get these songs, you know, working for sync. Sometimes sync might be thought of as like a second thing, but it's actually, it helps a lot. There's a number of independent artists. I just did a post on my TikTok yesterday about Lizzo. I mean, Lizzo started with sync. And so before she was, you know, her first big album came out in 2019, but in 2016, from 2016 to 2019, she was pretty much releasing music and getting that music put out as sync. And the buzz from those, hearing her music on big ads like Cadillac and Weight Watchers and all these other ads, hearing her music with those actually got her fan base started and got people in the industry paying attention to her and got, you know, a lot of buzz going. So that I think that's a lot of what got the industry to actually get behind her and push her when her first project dropped. And so I talk a lot about how there are a number of independent artists whose entire fan bases are built from sync placements, because especially if your music gets put into say a major national ad campaign, it shows, shows up on a television show, if it's in Insecure, or if it's on a Big Apple ad. And some of you have probably done this. If you hear a song you really like, what do? You pull out Shazam, you check out and see where it came from, and then you end up on that person's site. And like, I know a number of artists. There's a hip hop artist out of Orlando named Daraj. There's a hip hop artist named Tamara Bubble, who's actually been not only her music featured in big ad campaigns, but she's actually acted and performed to music and campaigns. And these are people who don't really like, they don't use like Submit Hub, or they don't have PR that they pay for, that they don't have distribution. They don't do a lot of the other things. Their entire fan bases came because people heard their music, you know, in a commercial or in a TV show, and then, you know, followed them and built from there. So it's really, really powerful.
Most definitely. That kind of answered another question that I had, which is, what is something about sync that people may not know if they've never been exposed to it? But as you mentioned, growing the fan bases through sync is something that a lot of artists do, which is something I didn't even know. But if you want to expound on that question I just asked a little bit, if you may have anything more.
Yeah, so for me, now I'm not an artist. Like you said, I got my start. I'm a producer, I'm a songwriter, play a lot of instruments. And I've always been playing music, and I've always been kind of picturing myself and trying to find my way into the industry. And so in 2007-ish, I moved to Atlanta. I'm from New York originally. I moved to Atlanta. I've hopped around a lot. I'm actually in Tucson, Arizona now, but I moved to Atlanta in 2007, trying to get on as a songwriter. Wanted to get big placements, wanted to get placements with different artists. And I actually struggled trying to find my way, trying to figure out, you know, how to work in that environment. And it was always in the studio writing songs, always pitching songs. But eventually, when I'm looking at other lanes, I found out about Sync. I joined there's this organization in LA called Taxi, some of you may be familiar with. At the time, they were really the only like sync education that was out there. Now there's a whole lot more options about learning, but I learned a lot of what I know starting through them, and then started getting music put into production libraries, which are, it's almost like a regular library that does books. Production libraries collect lots of music. And so that whenever any TV show or advertising agency is looking for obscure music or just generic music, a lot of times they'll go to production libraries because they just have so much music across anything. So if you're looking for tropical house, or you're looking for some authentic reggae or some world music, they tend to collect lots of different categories. So I started working that path and just submitting music, and it's a very isolated path, because you kind of work by yourself. You just make music that what you think people are into. You submit it to these libraries. It's kind of like the music goes into a bucket, and then you don't hear anything. It might be like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months later, and you'll find out, oh, my song was put into a show. Or when you get your PRO statement, you know, BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, then you'll find out that you have placements. And so I was doing kind of that path for a while, and it was working. It was just a lot of writing, a lot of both instrumentals and full songs, experimenting with different genres, throwing a lot of music into the bucket, and some of them, you know, would land on shows. And so I talk a lot about their like different paths to sync, and that is one particular path. Writing music for production libraries is one out of a few, and that's kind of what I learned first. But then I got exposed to some other things. As I started sharing in Atlanta how I was getting my sync placements, like I'm doing now, I met other people, and I met a producer who just got hired to work on the show Greenleaf. That was Oprah's big church drama that ran for like 6 seasons. And he was hired as the show's producer for the second and third season. And so he needed a song. He knew I was a songwriter. He asked me to write a song. I wrote him a song, got it demoed. And I work really fast, so when he asked me for a song, I sent it back to him like fully demoed and mixed in like 24 hours. And he was really impressed with that. And so that one song turned into, hey, you know, we want to hire you to be on the show. You be the songwriter for the show. You be the vocal producer for the show. You work with the actors, and it blew my mind because going from, you know, just being locked in the studio, writing in isolation, to seeing this whole other side of sync where, you know, you're getting, you know, access to a script. You're actually in the studio with the singers and the actors and the people on the show. It just opened my eyes that there was a whole lot more than what I had previously been exposed to. And so that was really cool. Just kind of, I worked on that show for second season and part of the third season. And then I also did a similar thing on Step Up High Water. I got to, Neo was the main actor on that show. And I got to write songs for him, for his character, and got to do mostly original songwriting on that show. And so that made me think, okay, what other things are out here? And so since then, I've learned about writing for ads, writing music for trailers, which are like the movie trailers or commercials for the movies, just so many other, doing custom work for animated companies. I've even got a chance to take part in a Sonic branding project, which is when like a corporation needs like you know, like McDonald's has that da 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 da, like when they get they call those Sonic logos, and they actually pay people a good amount of money to kind of come up with those. And so being exposed to all these different lanes is kind of inspired. It's taken me so much time to figure all this out, and it's not like out here in a book. It's not necessarily common knowledge. You know, as you talk to people, as you get experiences, you learn things. And so that all led me to my own passion of just sharing this information, because there's so many people that I know, so many people in my own community that are not exposed to this. I mean, in Atlanta alone, there's like so many producers who spend all their time just hoping to get on the next, you know, Future album or the next, you know, Migos or whoever, whatever, to get on the next big hip hop album, and don't realize that while they're doing that, they could also be taking those same trap beats and putting them on Love and Hip Hop, putting them on some other reality show or something else that, you know, has a budget and has opportunity. So it's really inspired my own passion to just share this information and put it out there so we can all kind of come up off of it.
All right. Look, y'all, he done dropped so many gems and everything that he done just said. I can't even pinpoint it. Y'all just should have pinpointed it yourselves in your pen and paper. Anyways, you know, I really enjoyed just your answer to that question, and that kind of helps me once again got into my next one, which is, what is your creative process when you're looking at a visual media and finding and creating music that meshes it all together?
Oh, that's a good question. So there's a couple of different ways that I tend to work, depending on what I'm working on. A lot of times, so if some of the work I do these days is custom work, meaning there's I might be working with a music house, and these are companies that work directly with either advertising agencies or film production studios, and they've gotten a very specific request that they need fast. So they might need, you know, we got a commercial for a fast food establishment, and we need, you know, just a hip hop track to go under this commercial. We want something real high energy, big energetic 808s, and but something that there's going to be dialogue talking. And so they might send you a video of what it looks like with some music temped in, and that means like they found some generic music that just kind of fits the energy of the scene, and now they want to create something original that they'll own for that. And so when you get those, you know, you're pretty much learning to make music based on someone else's requirements. And a lot of times I like to produce by reference, and almost no matter what I'm doing, if it's a brief or if I'm just cataloging music and creating music that I intend to pitch myself, I like to have a reference, meaning I want to have some other examples of music that have been used in that situation or used similarly, that I can listen to how it's arranged. I can listen to how it's mixed. I can listen, listen to the production quality and make sure that my music, what I'm about to create, is going to be on that same level. And so I'm a strong advocate for learning how to make music with references. If someone, a lot of times, if I'm cataloging music, like I already know that there are certain themes that are always requested in advertising. They always like energetic themes. They always need, you always hear, I get a lot of briefs, so you get to kind of filter those out over time and see what requests you get a lot of. There's a lot of requests for empowerment songs, especially women's empowerment. There's a lot of requests for community or overcoming obstacles. Right now, something real specific that's just because of this time. There are requests for songs about being back outside because we've been locked up for so long, and a lot of brands want to have, something to highlight this phase that we're in of, hey, we're especially, you think like cruise companies or travel companies or hotels. Everybody wants to kind of capitalize on this. We're back out, event organization companies. So once you know what certain people are looking for, if I'm trying to make something like that, I will try to find other songs that are used in commercials or other songs that have been used in ads. I'm really big on making like Spotify playlists. So I'll make a Spotify playlist of 5 to 10 songs that are similar to what I'm about to make. And that's my reference. That's my list of references. I try to have a few so that I'm not like copying one particular song, but if I have 4 or 5, so I'll pull a bunch of songs, listen to that, and then start writing from there. I tend to be more of a track first person, track production first, and then kind of lyrics and melody. But that's not, a rule. I know other people who are the opposite, will do a song and then create the track kind of around the song. So yeah, that's my process.
Okay, so 2 things: reference tracks are a must. And sync, from everything that you said, it sounds like it is a good mesh for people who have an interest in film and TV, but also people who have an interest in a love for music, which is why we're all here today.
Yeah, and it's a cool thing because I think there are people who, like, I've primarily been a sync artist. I have not released any music of my own, even though it's something that I always toy around with, putting out my own release as an artist. And so I've been more of a sync creator, but there are other people that I'm close to in my circle who are more pure artists. And the thing, if you're an artist, you try to figure out how sync fits into as a part of your formula. I think it's important for artists to always stay true to their brand and, make music, the music they want to make that says what they want to say. I think it's helpful if everybody understands sync and understands the type of things that might work in different places. And sometimes there can be an overlap. You're an artist, you do real deep emotional in your feelings type songs, and you may not be in the place where you want to do this upbeat, happy go lucky ad song, but that in your feelings emo type song might work on a cool TV show. So it's kind of like staying true to yourself and just being aware of the different places and saying, okay, does that fit with who I am, or do I want to extend myself? I'm releasing 10 singles. Do I want to set aside 2 or 3 that might be, really ad friendly, just so that I can take advantage of that? Or do I just want to understand the different avenues and find 1 or 2 that also fit with who I am as an artist? I don't think you should change who you are, but I think knowledge-wise, you should be aware of what's out there because it should be a part of your strategy.
So then how should an artist stay true to themselves with, with their craft and things like that, while also making songs that are sync worthy? Because I'm sure there's a lot of, I don't want to say politics, but that's the only word that comes to my mind right now. Politics with sync songs and how they're made and things like that.
Yeah, depending. I mean, there's politics and everything. I think especially when you talk about, other people making decisions or deciding things about a song. But I think starting at the very least with just awareness. If you're aware of what's out there, like for example, a lot of people are not familiar with movie trailer music. If you watch movie trailers, they have a very specific, unique sound. They use a lot of those big, high energy brass and a lot of strings and booming sound effects and all these things. And so the composers who make that have spent a lot of time and money creating those types of sounds. So if you watch like the Fast and Furious soundtrack or any sci-fi soundtrack, you'll see, or any action movie, you'll hear a lot of these same sound effects, these big deep subs that drop and all these big things. And so what's been used a lot recently, or a lot of requests, has been hip hop mixed with those sound effects. So epic hip hop is becoming more in demand because you're getting there are a lot more Black storytellers, both in the film world, the TV world. There's a lot more shows, and so they want the trailers to reflect the music that's in the show and the vibe of the show. And so they're trying to not just have every trailer sound kind of like Disney or like maybe typical. They want to kind of they want to vary up the music. And so you're hearing more hip hop artists do songs over these, really monstrous orchestrations. And if you're an artist, you might have your set of producers, you might have your sound, but knowing that that's out there and that those, these can be big trailers, are one of the big money, big budget syncs. All syncs aren't paid equally, but trailers, you're talking, you could get $30K, $50K and up for one song, that's used in a trailer. And so knowing that that's available, and you might have your own sound, and it might be worth it to say, okay, that's not too different from what I do. It might be worth it to do a couple of those kind of singles and still stay true to my brand. So I think it just starts with at least being aware of the stuff that's out there. And once you're aware of it, you can make a decision what fits. But for most of us, I think it's this, that we don't even know these lanes exist. And so getting aware is step one.
Exactly. So you mentioned how there are now more Black storytellers and things like that. And while I was doing my research for the panel, I noticed that there was a lack of people of color who are sync personnel, people who work in sync and music supervision. So is that something that you have noticed the change in terms of recently? Has it been more people coming in, or what has the progress that you've seen in your career?
Yeah, I think it's, I think a lot of industries, especially kind of 2019, 2020, when the pandemic hit and then a lot of the social justice protests started, a lot of industries started looking inward to say, okay, what are we not doing? And I noticed at the time, especially that's around the time when I was really trying to build my relationships in the advertising industry, because prior to that, I was focused mostly on TV and film. Mm-hmm. And I noticed the ad agencies in general were having lots of discussions, not just on the music side, like the entire corporate side of, how are we going to be able to make commercials that are reflective of the community if we're not hiring, if we don't look, reflective of the community. So they were having a lot of those, really intense conversations, which was cool to see. And so I think, I do think in some ways, yeah, there's a lot changing. And my own, so I have a community called CtrlCamp, which is a SIG education community. And if you look in us, and we have a lot of people who are aspiring to learn, who are aspiring to learn music supervision. And I think and just who comes out to our like clubhouse rooms, I think hopefully looking at kind of what we have is kind of some symbol of what the future of sync will look like in terms by the people coming in. But it's still a very much white male, like most, supervisors, ad agency, music directors, creative directors. It's still very much more kind of white male, but everybody, I think, is more aware and more vocal about the need. So you are seeing more, Black women hired as music supervisors, as creative directors, Black men, brown people in general. You're seeing a lot more diversity across gender. And so I think I've seen a change. Of course, there's a lot that needs to be done there. And I think part of the, on the creative side, in terms of creating music, I think we see more change there than on the decision-making side. And primarily that's because of the need. If you look at all the streaming networks, just think about all the shows. Like, I have more shows in my Netflix queue than I'll ever be able to watch, and on top, Hulu, Paramount, Apple, like all these, there's so much content being made. Each of those shows need music. And so you have people feverishly out there trying to find songs, sign songs. Like, so there's a lot more diversity and opportunity on the content side. And I think they're trying to catch up on the executive side.
And that's exactly why we do what we do here at Finesse, to bring more people into the profession, help everybody learn more about it with people like Eric. So also, I'll say, what inspired you to create CtrlCamp? And like, what are your, I'll say in the next year, 2, 3, what are your ultimate goals with CtrlCamp?
Good, thank you for asking. So it actually started kind of by accident. So when the pandemic started, we were all locked in our room, and while that happened, the Clubhouse app kicked off, and we're just hearing the buzz about other people on there made me check it out. And when I got on there, I immediately saw that there were people like, having these awesome conversations, and all these, so many at the time, so many celebrities and executives were on there. Like, there's a lot of buzz around it. And so me and actually Daraj, who I mentioned earlier, we both came up in the same sync community, along with Linda, who's on here. And we started, we just talked amongst ourselves and said, hey, why don't we just kind of get in, and we went into some rooms and then started, coming up on stage and just kind of sharing about sync. But we immediately saw that this was a totally brand new thing. It'd be cool if we just started our own. So we started our own room one day, just kind of sharing, how we got our syncs, how it happened. And that room, being online for about 2 hours, probably 3 to 4 people were in there when we started the room. And then by the end, we had like 30 to 40 people. And then somebody in that room was like, yo, you guys are sharing really cool information. I run a community that has like 100 people in it. Why don't you come to our room tomorrow night and share this? And so we came the very next day and shared the same thing. And somebody was in that room like, yo, this is dope. I got a community with like 1,000 people, and can you guys come and share in my room? And so in 3 days, we did like 3 different rooms, and both attracted like 500 followers, not just to our Clubhouse profiles, but to like our Instagram and our Twitter profiles. Because the cool thing at the time was that whenever somebody follows you on one, they also followed you on Instagram, because they couldn't DM you in Clubhouse at the time. There was no messaging. So it was immediately like, oh, this is actually real, and people actually responded to this, and we're getting good benefit in terms of our network, so we should just like formalize it. And it was a really quick decision. Like within that first week, we could see, okay, we should really do this. And then from doing that, we started, there was this separate serendipity in the early days of Clubhouse where you never knew who would come into the room. And so people would see us talking about sync and walk in, but it was like, oh, I'm an Emmy Award-winning composer. Oh, I did the score of this major movie. Oh, I'm a music supervisor working on this next movie. And so we started having conversations, not just amongst us, but amongst lots of, really big people who liked the way we ran the room. They just liked the interaction. And so we were getting so much benefit from sharing information that it became clear to me that this was the path that I personally wanted to be on. Like, so right now, like CtrlCamp is something that I've built up. I've taken it off of, not just off of Clubhouse, but we have a website, and the communities on the website. But I'm really passionate. I'm really passionate about sync education, making it available, and I'm passionate about free information. I think there are a lot of things that, even on our site, there are things that we'll charge for. We'll have, premium classes and premium events and all this type of things. But I think the only way to really level the playing field in sync, to give people access to this, is to make the information available. And so one of my passions is, I talk all the time. I do stuff like this. I'm on TikTok all the time. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Clubhouse. I share as much as I can, because I feel like the more we know, the more us that can get out there, the more music. Because this is a thing where it's not really competitive in the way where like me telling you about sync doesn't hurt my future income potential. If anything, if you know that this is out there, and then like, I don't know musically what you do, if you're a singer, if you're an artist, if you're a producer, but if you know what is out here, and then you get your music together, you're making things that are syncable. When I need what you do, I don't have to go and search and find you, because you're already there. And so much of sync success is, can you get something made really quick and really specific? And so somebody comes to me and says, hey, I need some 1920s jazz, but I need it with like Portuguese vocals. If I don't know the talent who can put that together, then I lose out. And so the more I share information, the greater my network of creators is, and the more I'm able to pull people together, which is what I do all the time. I get briefs, I pull them out in my community, I put them out in people that I know, I pull people together, we get songs, then we get them done really quickly, and we're all able to kind of benefit. So sharing information helps us all, and it's why I become passionate about it.
That was really, really inspiring. And that is exactly why everybody here, whether you're an independent artist, aspiring music industry professional, you should join communities like CtrlCamp. And y'all already hear Finessed, but y'all should join communities like CtrlCamp, because you never know. You never know what can happen, what can fall into your lap. But we only have 3 minutes left of this discussion, sadly. But for my last question, I wanted to ask, what is a piece of advice that you may have gotten in your career that you think would be useful for aspiring music sync supervisors, or just a music industry professional in general?
There's so much. What do I want to share? I think I like that you made it broad, like no matter what you want to do in the industry. I just talked about this recently in our last thing. Somebody asked a question because sometimes people get syncs accidentally. They had an album and some supervisor found it on SoundCloud and reached out to them, and then they're like, hey, how do I repeat this? Or how do I make this happen more consistently? And it led to me talking about this whole thing of how we, no matter what field we're in, need to think of ourselves as a business. And this is a revelation that came to me kind of later in life. I was always one that focused on my craft. If anything wasn't moving right in my field, I assumed that it was because I wasn't good enough as a producer, or I needed to step up my skills as an engineer, or need to step up my skills as a songwriter. And so I was always focused on craft. And what I've realized later is that we're all entrepreneurs. We're all building businesses, whether that business is one person or whether we're going to be hiring people at some point. But thinking like a business, if you look at any corporation, they have at least 4 different departments, right? There's the one department that makes the key thing, so it's the programmers who make the application, or the factory workers that make the handbags, whatever it is. They have a department that's in charge of content. But then they also have another department that's in charge of marketing, which is actually selling the product. They have they may hire people to just do business development, which is going out and having dinner with potential clients and the people who are going to be the deal makers. And then they are actually, always focused on their network and partners and finding things. And so finding people to partner with finding partners. So as entrepreneurs, I think those are the 4 things that we need to be thinking about. Most of us do focus on content and think about that, but the actual networking side of, how many people know you and are, familiar with you, how many people, the more, it's one of the cliche things that we say, your network is your net worth, but it's one of those cliches that is actually true. And it's worth saying over and over, because so much of what in this last year I've been able to do is just because somebody's like, oh yeah, Eric does this. Hey, do you make this kind of music? Just because they know me, or maybe they saw a TikTok and they're like, hey, do you happen to know how to get this kind of music made? And I might, or I can find somebody who can get it made. And so network brings opportunities, and opportunities bring income. And so that's something we should always be focusing on. And then branding is something I think we don't always think about, because network kind of introduces you to people, but your brand kind of controls what people think about you. And I was just telling somebody yesterday that a lot of times, like, as human beings, we're story-driven people. And so when you meet someone, you're going to make a story about that person. It's just part of human nature. When people meet you, they're going to make a story. And so the only way to control that is for you to put the story out first. And that's what branding is. So it's one of the reasons why I'm passionate about TikTok, because that's your opportunity to tell people who you are and how to think of you. And so if you take charge of your brand, then people will still make up their own stories, but at least you have some control and you have an opportunity to control the narrative. And so companies have entire departments that are devoted to nothing but branding and controlling the story and putting the story out there. And so we need to think about that when our Instagram reels and our TikToks, and how if we're blogging or whatever path we have to control the story. And then the last thing is the marketing, the pitching, the selling. Like, I know me personally, branding, networking, and selling were my 3 weak points. And I was always focused just on making music. And so now I've learned, if you're not knocking on 100 doors saying, hey, can your show use this music? Can your commercial use this music? I've made something for you. Check it out. And if you're not learning how to do that without annoying people, without coming off like spam, you're not investing the time to like develop that technique, you're missing out on money. So no matter what you want to be, supervisor, executive, what have you, I think everyone can invest in how do I get better at developing whatever my content is, increasing my network, branding myself, and pitching myself.
Most definitely. Thank you for all of your advice, your gems. Look, y'all, references are key. Network is your net worth. Branding, marketing, your craft, and staying true to yourself is really the key to success for everything. A lot more up in there too, but those are just a little synopsis of it. So thank you again, Eric, for talking to us. We're gonna have our audience Q&A, but quickly, I'll pass it off to Kit Kat.
Thank you, Alicia.
You're welcome.
All right, y'all. So this is one of my favorite parts of our events. If you learned something new from Eric, if you learned what a reference was, if you learned about CtrlCamp and all of those cool communities that you could join, if you learned one thing, now's the time to unmute yourself. I see you, Justin. You're getting ready. Now's the time to unmute yourself and give me a whoop whoop.
Woo, woo.
Let's go.
All right. That's what's up. That's what's up. And so obviously, like Alicia said, we just got a lot of cool gems in this room. So if you have a follow-up question, use the raise your hand feature under the reactions button and Alicia will call on you. Ooh, we've got 3 questions already. Alicia, girl, take it off.
All right. The first one I see is Marion.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, Mr. Campbell. First of all, thank you for coming and talking with us. This is the first Finesse meeting I've ever joined, and I have to say you provided a great gateway into it. My question
Appreciate
was
you.
about, you talked about the technique of reaching out to people in positions without coming off as spammy. Can you talk more about how you should come off as professional when reaching out?
Good. Thank you for asking that. Yes. So one of the things I always talk about, and we talk about a lot in our community, is treating executives, people you want to be in connection with, as human beings and not just as people that can do stuff for you. And so a lot of times I get a lot of DMs, and I'm starting to get, and I'm starting to get to the point where even with my heart to help people, I get more DMs than I can respond to. If I responded to all of them right away, I wouldn't be making any music. I would just be, responding to emails. And so, but some of them, they kind of fall in a couple of categories. Some of them will be, commenting on something that they saw. I saw your TikTok. I just want to say I appreciate you for sharing that information, and thanks so much. And then others will say, hey, I heard you can get me in the sync. How does it happen? Or what do I got to do? Might just be kind of that abrupt. And then somebody might just send a link with some music, like no context, anything, like, hey, check out my music, and here's a link to my Spotify. And so out of those 3, the ones that I tend to respond to right away if I have time are the ones that are like, hey, I saw your TikTok, and man, I really appreciate what you're saying, thanks so much. And I appreciate the gratitude. And, and that's the start. And it's like, it's a human, the ones that feel like, somebody sees you as a human being, is usually the best approach. I am very, I'm big on networking through DMs, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, because people tend to be very accessible. But what I tend to do, I will usually follow people that I'm interested in. And if they do something or something's going on in their life that I will sincerely comment on, the same way if I was just hanging around them in the bar and they was like, hey, my kid just graduated from college. I'm like, oh, congratulations, that's awesome. Where are they going? Or, oh, they're going to, like genuine conversations. There's so many things that can happen to build a relationship before ever saying, by the way, I make music, can you check out my music? Like when you rush to what you can do for me as opposed to, hey, I'd like to get to know you better, I think that's the hard part about relationships. So I will comment on somebody's post. I'll like a post, I'll leave, if there's something I can really help in, like somebody, you know, is talking about a book that they read, maybe I read that book, or I have another book that I know they're a book reader. I'm like, hey, well, did you see such and such? Seth Godin just, you know, put out a new book. Did you check that out? Or like, if I'll find things that we might have in common. It's a longer way to do it, but it tends to make more genuine things. So a lot of times I'll never mention music or pitch. I pitch to people that I already have relationships with, that I know that I'm looking for music. If people want to know that I do music, number one, all they got to do is click on my profile, and I have all my links right there. So they can go anytime and find my links. Or if I send them an email, at the bottom of all my emails, I have Eric Campbell, singer-songwriter, I make lots of music on TV, and I have a link to my catalog. So they can always find it without me pushing it. So I tend to follow people that I want to be in a relationship with, and I try to build authentic relationships. Somebody said that in the chat, which I like. Authentic relationships by just being genuine and you know, pointing out, you know, common points of interest. If they're from New York, I'm from New York. If they're from Chicago, I'm from New York, and there's been a whole debate yesterday about Chicago pizza versus New York pizza. Maybe that'll be where, you know, something that that'll be a perfect thing to talk about. Whatever it'll be natural. So that's my thought on it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for your question, Marion. So, synopsis: build genuine relationships by having real conversations. Don't just reach out to people when you feel like you want something, even if deep down you really do, you know? So we're gonna go to the next person, which is Justin.
Hey there, Alicia, great job today. Again, shout out to the Finesse fam. Eric, it's a pleasure to have you, brother. It's always great to listen to, especially Black creatives, especially a male. You know, so I just really want to say that first. A little bit about me. I have started the sync space about 3 years ago, like right before the pandemic. Something I knew about, but I knew I had to create what I do well before I really dove in. So I've been in music for a minute, but just really started. I have an agent. I'm in a few libraries. I'm A&R and working for another company called Smash House, where you get to work with the big brands directly. So y'all drop that in the link. Please check it out. But with doing all of this and learning a lot of things that you talked about, I am now stepping into music supervision. And as an A&R, I feel like it's very much the same, but it's different. So I just wanted to get more tips on just the mindset, things I might need to do, and to give you more clarity. I was asked to be the music supervisor, but I'm also doing the composing for the short film. So it's kind of dope to do all one, you know, but we haven't started yet, waiting for funds to come in, but I wanted to get just more insight maybe to what I already have on how to approach it, things to be sure to do or not do, and things of that nature.
I appreciate you asking that. It's really, really dope. Before I just answer that, let me just say to Alicia that I don't think any of the Chicago people in the chat should be allowed to ask any questions, because they're talking really reckless about New York pizza right now. So I just want to put that out there. So yes, I think congratulations, first of all. I think that goes back to networking and the power to, as you meet more people, the power of new opportunities coming, and then being flexible and saying, okay, I haven't done that. Let me, you know, try this. Let me level up my skills. Like, you never know you don't really know what you want to do until you try stuff. And as you're building a network, you never know what kind of opportunities will come. So you got to kind of be flexible. So kudos to you for that. I think music supervision, you know, I had a similar experiences last year. I got to supervise my first show. I did supervision on The Family Business, which is on BET Plus. And we placed like 10 songs in that season for the season last year. And it was my first time doing it. It was mostly a that particular one was mostly finding music. So it wasn't, they had a composer doing score already. They just needed someone to find music for the additional scene. So a lot of times it's just knowing what the producer, director, what they're looking for, and whatever role you're in, you're in the role to help make their vision successful, you know? And so if it's a short film, and, you know, short films tend for my, worked on them, but just talking to other composers, they tend to be more like kind of everybody rolls up their sleeves and does all the things. So yeah, you're doing score, you're finding the music, you might be producing, you might get involved in all the roles. I think the biggest thing that I've heard we do a film score convo on Sundays on Clubhouse where we just talk to film composers. And we have film composers who work on shorts, big movies, big series on Stars, and all these things. And so the common thing I've heard in those conversations is communication with the director is everything. Being clear in kind of what they're looking for, but also feeling comfortable offering your vision too, because they brought you on because you have a vision. And some of the composers early in their career, they felt like they were so grateful to get the opportunity that they were just like, hey, whatever you want, I'll just do whatever you want, you know. And you know, in some ways they messed up certain relationships because they were really being brought on to bring their vision to the table. So find that balance between knowing the director's vision and adding, you know, your vision to complement, and just making sure that you guys, that you both are talking and have that communication up. I think that's what I've heard to be the biggest thing.
Absolutely. Well, look, I'm a great communicator, so I feel like I'm already in there. So I greatly appreciate it and look forward to connecting with you, man. Thank you.
Yes, no doubt.
Okay, guys, so we're gonna thank you for your question, Justin. Let me say that first. But we're gonna do the Q&A for about 5 more minutes. So if y'all can save the question and answer briefly, I'd appreciate it. Is it Lonnie or Lenny?
Lenny.
Okay, Lenny, go ahead with your question.
First of all, Eric, thank you for the information. A lot of great gems. I appreciate the fact that you're not gatekeeping information. That's really beautiful. So mine is kind of like a 2-part question. First being, I know you spoke about artists staying true to like what they do and what they create and things like that, and trying to figure out, you know, obviously find those spaces along with having the flexibility to branch out. I guess, what is your advice for trying to pinpoint the opportunities in sync that kind of are similar to what your interests are? So say for me, you know, like I make hip hop music, especially a lot of boom bap stuff. Also, I branch into other stuff as well. But so I feel like my stuff could go on something like similar to like an Atlanta or Insecure or Harlem or things like that. But at the same time, also like an Adult Swim or video games and stuff like that. So I guess, what is your advice to kind of pinpoint those opportunities and those music supervisors? And then also, what are your thoughts on the service with like TuneCore, for example? They have the services to where artists can pitch their music for sync opportunities. Just wanted to know what your thoughts are on that. So
2 good questions, and I'll try to answer them both quickly. First one, I think the more that you're exposed to actual commercials and shows to see, you'll learn where they might work. So the 2 things where I research, there is a site called tunefind.com, TUNEFIND.com. I'll write it in the chat. You can search, you can watch, you know, almost a lot of different TV shows. They'll put what music was featured in that show. And so you just spend some time researching there and find out where the boom bap, you know, might be, or find shows. They'll list the music that was used. And then the other one for ads like that is iSpot TV, which shows a lot of advertisements. Because boom bap is also, that kind of hip hop is also used in ads as well. And those have bigger budgets than TV shows. So you want to check both of those. So those 2 sites to research, and then you'll see where your stuff might fit. And then the last spot for research will be IMDb IMDb. There's imdb.com, which is the database for films, but IMDb Pro actually lets you see kind of films that are in development or TV shows that are in development. And you can see who the supervisors are, who the music editors might be. And so those three things might help you find, where are the people that might be using my music. And then the other question you asked was TuneCore, CD Baby, a lot of those sites that have film sync stuff. I personally don't recommend those. I do not know. I've done releases on CD Baby. I know a lot of people do releases on TuneCore. I don't necessarily know anybody who's gotten placements through their film sync side. And I'd be concerned about locking things down on those. There's a lot of other avenues. I mean, Song Traders, some people use and seem to like, and then just pitching directly to, sync agents. If you're an artist, I would go more of the sync agent route than the tune. One, I don't personally know TuneCore or CD Baby. I don't know their sync departments, and I don't know who they have actively pitching this stuff. I don't know if they're on the phones every day, if they're shooting emails all the time, or they just have these songs in a database that's on a website that supervisors can go and search, but the supervisors never do because they don't use those services. So whereas an agent, they're at conferences, they're making phone calls, they're, sending emails. And so I personally, I have not heard of people getting significant placements through those two channels.
Cool. I really appreciate that information, man. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for your question. So our last two questions are going to be from Katya and Zoe. So did I pronounce that right, Katya?
Katya, you're good.
All right, you can go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you, Eric, for your insight. My question is, I'm an artist, I'm a singer-songwriter, producer. Say I see a TV show that I think my music would work well in. How would I go about finding the right contacts to pitch to or to start building the relationships with?
IMDb Pro would be the first place I would go. You can see a certain amount free, but some access you might have to have a paid subscription to, but it's worth checking out. I would start there. And then that's probably primarily where I find out like who the supervisor is on the show. Even imdb.com, the regular one, will, if it's something that's already aired, it'll be listed under crew, and most times they'll list who the supervisors were on the show. Reaching out though goes back to what we were saying earlier, and it's usually harder to reach out right away. The only exception though, sometimes supervisors, when they're working on a show, they are looking for more of that thing. And sometimes they're under a lot of tight deadlines. So that's actually not a bad time to say, hey, I see you're working on such and such second season, and I see you use a lot of hip hop or R&B, or I see you use a lot of pop music or whatever it is. And I just want to introduce myself. I know you get a lot of DMs or little messages, but I do make this music. The key thing, if you are reaching out, is to let them know that you know you're a business. They're much more interested in people who understand the sync business than they are about music. There's certain things that are very sync specific that we won't have probably time enough to get into here, but that your music is one stop or represented by just one person. It's easy to clear, and it has no samples. There's no loops that are difficult to clear. That sync is more, because of the speed, they're more concerned about, can I use this music quickly? Can I get it cleared quickly? That's more of the bigger job of supervision than actually finding the music. So if you're able to put in your email that you understand those things, they're more likely to click on the link and listen to your music if it's something they're looking for in that moment. I'm looking for hip hop, you're a hip hop artist, and I don't have to explain sync to you. If you can say that in an email, it's more likely to be responded to.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thanks for your question, Katya. So the last one we'll have is Zoe. Hi, Zoe.
Hi, Alicia. Hi, Eric. Hi, everybody. Thank you for this. I just wanted to know, what do you suggest for a small-time artist? What's the best way to get one-stops, like financially, in terms of working with producers and building up a catalog of many songs, but also like not having to, pay to be in the studio working on every single instrumental and every single, or like, how do you feel about, for example, licensing beats online that have like a sync clause, but just making sure you still have your one stop?
I'm personally not a fan of licensing beats online. I actually haven't seen the ones with the sync clause, so I'd be interested to look at some of them just to see how the agreement looks. But the problem with licensing anything online is, as far as I can tell, and I haven't done it enough, so take this with a grain of salt, but it seems like it's harder to guarantee that that beat has never been used before. Even if you get something exclusive, a lot of times if it was already on there, that's not to say that somebody else hasn't already leased it before you got exclusive. And that's the reason that most supervisors won't touch anything that may have been leased or gotten online. If you commissioned a beat or producer to make something for you from scratch, that's one thing. But as soon as people hear that you got it from a beat site, they tend to be like, oh, we won't deal with that. Now, if you can do one, I think you can do one stop a lot of ways. The ways a lot of us do it, one, we'll do collaborations with people who are already in sync. And a lot of times our split sheets have a one-stop clause at the bottom of the split sheet, which will say, hey, we all collaborated, this is our splits, but we give either one person of the three, or we all share, any one of us has one-stop ability. For anybody listening, one-stop means that I have the right to sign this song. Sometimes we restrict it to non-exclusive things. It only takes one of us to sign this song to an opportunity. We give each of us the ability to do that. And so, because I pitch a lot of my stuff myself, anybody I collaborate with, I'll do a one-stop, whereas I'm the one-stop contact. But if they also do pitch, then we might share the one-stop thing. But the people that I deal with have to know that if they want to license this song, I don't have to chase down the other 2, 3, or 4 people on this track to get it signed. I can sign it for myself, and that gives them a breath. That makes them more willing to work with me, because sync just works so fast. So collaborations, you can do it, just have the one-stop clause on your split sheet. But I would be hesitant about licensing beats. So yeah, you can pay for everything, that helps. But if you want to minimize that, then if you're in communities like this and CtrlCamp, you can find collaborators who understand how sync work, and then do a one-stop clause that way.
Amazing, thank you.
Very welcome.
Okay, thank you all for your questions. So now we're gonna get into the fun part, which is the listening session. So we've had 3 artists submit their songs, and the purpose of this is to, give the artist a chance to get their music critiqued, to get quality feedback from our panelists and community members. And you also may walk away with some more supporters, so everybody loves that. So like I said, we got 3 songs submitted, and we're gonna start off with All Yours, See You Smile. So give me 1 second so I can pull it up.
Lacey is bringing that on. Who's excited to listen to some dope music today? Give me a little raise your hand, give me thumbs up, give me, I don't know, burning hands, whatever you want to do. Okay, nice. Because I know as a self-claimed, yes, I'm self-claiming this, but as a self-claimed professional fangirl, I'm excited to continue being a fangirl with all of you. So, Alicia, are we good to go?
Give me 2 more seconds. Sorry, y'all.
All good, all good.
Computer is loading slowly. Of course, technology wants to mess up anytime you need it the most.
Heck, it'd be like that. But you know what? Why don't I hop on with you and help you out here?
Okay.
Cool.
We just got
All right, y'all. So give me 1 second to make sure everything is going smoothly. First up, we've got a song from All Yours submitted by Sarah Jean, who wrote the song. Sarah, were you able to hop in?
Yes, I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
Amazing. Yeah,
Thank
we
you for
can hear
having
you.
me.
Of course, you want to tell us a little bit about this song?
Yeah, so I wrote this song with my partner, Xavier, about a year ago. We actually wrote it for a brief, and it was when we wrote it, we kind of envisioned it being for like an airline. And the funny thing is now I
Okay.
actually work for an airline. So that's just like the vibe that I get. And so I hope that it evokes some good emotions for everyone.
Nice. Well, I'm sure. See you smile. I hope to see us all smiling. So let's give it a listen.
You can hear my heart jumping. My spirit was buzzing, buzzing. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen your face. All these miles without an embrace. I'll sail across the oceans, I'll fly up to the sky. You bring me peace and harmony every time I see you smile. I'm flowing with emotions, you brighten up my life. I travel the whole world just to see you smile. Just to see you smile. Just to see you while you were.
All right. I know I want to be taken on like a tropical trip. Take me to Hawaii right now. Eric, you're our expert though. What are your thoughts on the song?
Oh, I love it. I think, like you said, I could see airlines. I could see ads in general. The track had a tropical vibe to it. Somebody said summer vibes, which I agree with. But the vocals, Sarah, is that you singing?
Yeah, that's me.
Vocals sound great. And the lyrics are really good. So what did you write this for? You said you wrote it for a brief, so you wrote it for Sync.
Yeah.
Was it used? Was it placed as it being signed or ripped
No.
anywhere?
No, so I really, really love songwriting. I've been writing since I was in my teens and then kind of discovered the world of sync. And, you know, I really like the challenge of receiving a brief and just being like, okay, now I need to write a song that fits these guidelines. So we wrote that song in like an hour and finished it. And we were just like, okay, feeling really good about it. It didn't get selected, but we still, you know, we think it's just a very like uplifting commercial pop record. So we have high hopes for it that it'll find a home one day.
I believe so. If you send it to me, I can help you find a home. I think it's great. Yeah.
Awesome.
I would rep
Thank
that song. It's really
you.
cool. I love it.
I would love to send it to you. And I've been following you since the pandemic on Clubhouse. So, you know, thank you, Finesse Media, and thank you, Eric, for taking the time to listen and give some feedback. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
First, thank you, Sarah. Look at that, y'all. In real life, opportunities opening up, and that's what we love about this space. So amazing. Thank you, Sarah, for submitting. That was awesome. Up next, we have Queen Mars. Queen Mars, you just dropped a lot of music. You want to tell us about this song, about the project?
Yeah, what's up? Thank you so much for having me. So this song is actually off of a project that I just released last week. It's an album, yeah, it's an album based off of my birth chart. So if anyone's an astrology fan, like this project is for you. But this song in particular, I wrote and produced, and I like really wanted it to be like the intro to my villain era song. And so I really think that that's like the vibe of this one. I feel like I picture it being like very menacing, or like the introduction of like a villain in a show or something like that. So enjoy.
Okay. When Alicia and I were listening to this morning, we very much said villain era. So you got, like, at least on my end,
Yeah.
we see you. So it's Jupiter in Capricorn.
Money, power, full control. Be a doll, do what you're told. Yes, I wanna rule the world. Think you got the diamond soul. Tell me what you think it's worth. Name my price, I said it's sold. Doesn't matter if it's gold, it's still a chain and you should have known. You want the secret to the world. Money, power, full control.
What's the track? Let me pause this real quickly. Eric, why don't you kickstart us off? What are your thoughts on this? Is there any feedback that you would provide to Queen Mars right now?
That's really, really cool. Just the whole vibe. I love the way you introduced it and made me want to hear it. And I think you understand your sound. I love the darkness of it. Is that sound, how is reflective, is that song of your overall sound, or is that kind of like an outlier of what you do?
No, I think that like my sound tends to be like have a lot of like darker pop, darker R&B elements to it. So like that one's probably more intense than the rest of them, but I definitely have like, it's like a little consistent, I think, with that being throughout my discography.
That's good then. I think because if you, as an artist, you get known for that, then there's a lot of use for that. There's a lot of use as a producer, because you're the producer as well, right? So as a producer who's creating their own sound, like you said, dark shows. Somebody mentioned, I think, CW or Batwoman, like, those types of shows, definitely. But even there's a lot of room for your sound I was talking earlier about trailers. There's a lot of room for your sound to be trailerized, which is when a trailer company takes the sound and then makes it even, puts it in a trailer format. The cool thing is, as a producer, don't have to necessarily know the trailer format yourself. If your song already has potential, you can kind of send it to some of these companies, and they have in-staff composers who will then take it. And a lot of these companies do remixes all the time of a Beyonce song or what have you, and kind of give it that dark vibe. There is a producer, Labyrinth, who's used all over.
I know. Okay, so I'm a huge fan of Euphoria's like score, and like, yeah, I follow the music supervisor and everything. So yeah, that's definitely, I love Labyrinth, and I love everything that he did with Euphoria too.
So that's awesome. I'm gonna look up more of your. Can you send me your link? Just your Spotify link? I just want to hear more of your stuff. Like, number one, I saw a few different women in this group say that they were composers. Let me just tell you that there's so much need right now for women producers and women composers, and fortunately, the industry is actually looking for it, especially on the sync side, looking for composers and looking for people who. So like, like Queen Mars is you creating, and the fact that you're doing your own thing and creating your own sound, like it's so, you get so much kudos for that. I just want to encourage you to do that and put it out there, let people, you know, let people know that you're there and doing your stuff, because this is the time for you. So
Yeah.
I'd love to hear more.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll send you a link. And I've been following you on TikTok too, so it's really cool to like.
Oh, that's
see
cool to
you
hear
at the
y'all say that.
Finesse- Yeah, to
That's
see you at one of the
cool.
Finesse Media events. So thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.
Queen Mars. Awesome. And Lottie just dropped Women Composers, Producers with Gender Amplified. So make sure all of you women, non-binary folks, check it out. Awesome. Last but not least, we have a song from Janel, but one of the Finesse Media team members, Sage, is her manager. Sage, can you chat a little bit about this song? Janel, what should we be on the lookout for?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, guys. I'm Sage. I manage Janel, who's a Philadelphia-based singer-songwriter. I played her stuff in here before, and if you've heard it, it's more kind of R&B pop. But this song definitely channels like her inner Paramore, and this was not like made for sync, but when me and Janel do listen to this song, we imagine like the coming of age movie where the girl's like singing to her hairbrush about a breakup. That's what we think this song embodies. So yeah, I hope you enjoy.
Lying next to you, I thought I knew the truth of who you were to me. Thought I knew. Believing in the cost, even when you weren't sure. Leaving me to be the only one involved, no matter the cost. But I never thought it could be. I never thought it could be. I never thought it could be us. Whoa, I never thought it could be. I never thought it could be. I never thought it could be us. You went.
We'll pause it there. Eric, give us your thoughts on Janelle's track.
The energy, the vibe of this track, her vocals, I love all of it. I love the way her sound. I wasn't sure when the introduction came in. The beat caught me off guard in a pleasant way, though. I wasn't expecting it to go in that direction, but I like how you describe it with the, singing into the hairbrush vibe. I like that you both think that way. And it's definitely track-wise, energy-wise, it definitely gives me that feel. I think if the only thought I would share, I think if you were intentionally making something for sync, or if you're making songs, so this is I think something where you have like an artist who has a direction, has a great vibe, and as she's making songs and thinking about, okay, let me do a few singles or come up with some things that will definitely be more intentional for sync. I think you take the same vibe of that song, but you put lyrically something that's a little more conceptually sync friendly. Like you take that same vibe but have a song that's about, this is my time, or kind of I'm free to be me. I'm just doing myself type of vibe. Then that vibe with that track makes it even more sick, and it could still be her. It could still be true to who she is as an artist, but something that emotionally, lyrically, because that scene in the hairbrush, in the mirror, what are you thinking when you're in that mirror? The mirror, you're thinking, I'm getting ready. I'm about to kill today, or I'm the boss. Like something like it's freedom, it's empowerment, it's whatever. And so I would think you know, she has the capacity to create some of those songs specifically and intentionally, and they would be syncable all day long.
Amazing. Thank you so much. I will definitely pass that on to her.
My pleasure.
Can I quickly add something as well, Sage?
Yeah.
One thing, I love the chorus. Like, it's catchy. Like, I never thought I'll be in my shower singing that, okay? Like, that's what's up. I didn't realize when the verse and the pre-chorus were going into the chorus, and so maybe having a little bit more of like a shift musically as well, so then it makes it really distinct. Like, here's the end of that section, and now let's get into like we're literally dancing the mirror, have my mic ready, like
Right.
I'm gonna go crazy with it. But that would be the only thing that I would add as well. I
Yeah.
love the song.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so those are all of our song submissions. Alicia, that means that we're at the end of this event. No, watch me crying in the back. Okay, Alicia, want to wrap things up for all of us?
Yes. So I'm so happy to have all of you out here today, wherever you at in the world. And once again, thank you to Eric for being here. I learned a lot from you, so I know that everybody in the audience learned a whole lot from you. So make sure y'all keep up with y'all pen and paper that y'all wrote all the notes on. But anyways, to wrap it up, make sure that you stay connected with Finesse at finesse.media, and make sure you all connect with Eric, the CtrlCamp, and make sure to put all of your information in the contact sheet that Abby just dropped in the chat. So thank you all again for being here. We really appreciate y'all. And I'm passing it on to Jordan.
Yes.
All right, Jordan.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for being here. And thank you, Eric. This was such an informational and just like a really fun time having you speak with us. I really enjoyed myself and learned so much from you today. Just thank you. But yeah, I am the events manager here at Finesse Media, and I'm just going to tell y'all about our upcoming events. So next week we have our Web3 safety event. So if you're interested in like Web3, NFTs, all that stuff, be here so you know how to stay safe as an artist on there. After that, we'll have our accessibility in the music industry event, followed by our live music, talking about touring, and then we'll have a beat making event. So be prepared, be ready. It'll be fun. On to you, Kit Kat.
All right, one last time. If you like today, unmute yourselves right now. Give me a whoop whoop. If you see on our Twitter, we literally just give it to you. Amazing. One last time, big thank you to Eric. You are incredible. Thank you for sharing all of your wisdom with us today. Big shout out to all of you for being here. Thank you for spending your Saturday with us, and we hope that you enjoyed this. And one last thank you to the one and only Alicia. Thank you for hosting this, and thank you for allowing this space for us to learn. With that, have an incredible rest of your weekends. We will see you next Saturday for our Web3 safety event. And yeah, see y'all soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Thanks.